What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to GSA's Celeste Any Percent League Week 1. We just came off of an explosive first match between Marlon and Shy Kitty, with Marlon able to take the win and pull out a 27, but with only a 10-second difference. So Shy Kitty, as you can see on the screen right now, is able to nab 29 points for himself, which is not a bad way to start off the league. With coming up off a loss, and holy cow, my brain is stumbling over words.
Don't worry, I can take over if you want.
Well, I'm doing fine now, apparently. Our next match here is between Fladervy and archieboy666, sponsored by Archie Gaming. So Flad, as you know before, was able to take third place in Season 1. Very excellent play from Flad. He is also one of the few people to be able to achieve a 27. He wasn't able to get it recorded, unfortunately. So I know that he's been looking at doing that. And then we've got archieboy666 able to make it through the qualifiers. Definitely he is the underdog coming in to this match, but I don't count anybody out when it comes to Celeste, because a lot of things can happen. And so definitely not going to be expecting anybody to be counted out here in this match. And once again, I'm joined on the mic with my good friend Troy of Athens. How you feeling about this race, Troy?
It's going to be fun. I definitely want to say just a little bit thing here. We do have the flags, of course. I love that thing of this layout. And we've been, there's in SMO, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on about NA versus EU, but here in Celeste, we've got people from all over the world. So we got NA versus SA right now.
Yeah, definitely. In our last match, we had did have an NA versus EU, and in that one, EU was able to take the win. But now we've got North America coming up against South America.
With
really
Brazil.
love seeing. That's honestly one of my favorite things about speedrunning, is just the amount of diversity that you see between runners. Is you can meet people from all over the world and just all come together, all for the love of just specific games, come through in competition like GSA or in charity events like GDQ, and it's just really cool to see. And I think that is one of the things that separates speedrunning from anything else, is just friendly competition and events all brought together, all just for the love of games.
Yeah, and I'll point it out here now that I'm thinking about it. Most likely you will see Flad's game run in Portuguese. It does not affect gameplay at all. It is just purely a preference of his. Of course, being from Brazil, it's just just a way for him to represent Brazil, I guess.
Hey, Flad can do what he wants. It's like he represents.
It doesn't give you an advantage, as I said, so it's purely just a thing that he likes to do with his runs, is to run in Portuguese.
Yep. I think that's one of the nice things about Celeste, is there's no language preferences. So, and I know some games you have to spend a couple $100s for a specific language. So in order to not have that in Celeste, I think is a great feature for people to be able to use.
And I will also note that this is a pre-recorded race, but it is being seen for the first time live by you folks and by us as well. We have never seen this race. We do not know what's going to happen.
No idea what's going to happen, but you know what? That's the best part, because if everything was done beforehand, then it wouldn't be the same.
Commentary would be terrible if we knew what was going to happen.
Yeah. All right, so we see the restream getting...
Yeah, so this will be fun.
All right, so it looks like they're going to be getting these matches started here. Probably going to be starting off with the resync right away. Now, as we highlight from the last match, Shy Kitty came out with a death in the prologue. Set him at a little bit of a deficit, but, that can... it happens to the best of us, happens to the worst of us. You just shrug it off and keep going. Doesn't look like we're going to be seeing that right now, but I very easily could have commentators cursed that. Like I said, both of these runners got really good times. I think Archie Boy's PB is like a 30, mid 30, and then Flad having a official low 28, but an unofficial high 27. So it will be very interesting to see how this race plays out for both runners. So again, we go through City, which for any of you guys that are new to the Celeste speedrunning, there aren't, like, City is probably the most optimized IL of every single IL in the game. They've gone through, utilized pretty much any mechanic you can think of, just to make it faster to the point where runners are able to complete this in under a minute. It's very, very hard to complete City in under a minute, but it is possible.
Yeah, I did see I definitely have seen, like, TGH quote, he's been working hard to try to get that world record back, and I've seen him tweet about how he's achieved a 59.
Yeah, I think he had a 58 in a couple of attempts before, but I don't 100% know.
Right. But just like we said, out of here in about a minute's time, 103 on Archie's side, and I believe faster than that, 101.
Yeah, so Flad's able to have a 3-second lead coming out, going into Old Site. Now, one thing to note too about Flad is Flad does have some hand issues, so there might be a couple of more resyncing of the timers. Just Flad takes a little bit longer on chapter screens just to help his hands rest, which is perfectly fine, because you want yourself to be in that top condition.
Honestly, that we were talking about before in the previous game that we've moved over a best-of-1 format, and I feel that that will definitely help the hand situation, because the huge thing that was such a problem, and honestly what drove some people away from potentially participating, was the idea of doing 3 games in a row of this.
Yeah,
and
it is.
In a lot of cases, that is just so taxing on your hands. This game is crazy taxing on your hands just for like 1 run. So to do 3 runs at your top speed, like at your top level, back to back, is really daunting. So,
yeah, it is, and
a lot better.
Definitely the best-of-1 format allows for the runners to be able to save their hands, and even mentally, because I know it can be very, very mentally taxing too to try and play and hold up the pace for such a high octane speedrun as well. Oh, Archie Boy taking a death in this screen. Honestly, this screen is the most punishing of the battling section, so that is definitely not a deficit he wants to have happen.
Yeah, allowing Flad to have like a good 5+ second lead right now.
Yeah, definitely not a position Archie Boy wants to be in, but Flad still playing very, very clean as he heads through the Awake section. Now, again, the nice thing about the Awake section is you're not at a risk of death. You can still get yourself a pretty hefty deficit just because the movement that is in here is very, very advanced with the corner boosts into hypers and just everything that's all included. Flad playing very clean. Archie Boy kind of getting himself hung up, and I think there was a
that example right there
for Flad. I might be wrong. But a 3:30
possible. It's still a great time, but yeah, it was a 3:20.
Yeah, 3:20 for Flad, giving him about a 10-second lead as we go into Resort. So again, as we look at this, Troy, because again, you know the point system better than I do, it just seems like this is a good point to explain that for anybody else who might be tuning in that's new.
Of course, sure. So we have moved over, as I said earlier, to a best-of-1 format, similar to the other leagues that exist within GSA. So, you know, a win is going to give you 60 points, and then from there, there's going to be 30 more points that get divvied out between the 2 players, depending on the times that the 2 players get. So every 10 seconds is another point given to the loser.
Yep. And so in our last match,
30 seconds is to the loser, unless and then the 10-second gap takes away points basically.
Yep.
And gives it to the winner.
And so like in our last match, it was exactly 10 seconds. So Chai Kitty nabbed 29 of those 30 points, which is very, very good for a week 1. Not Archie Boy, looking like he struggled to skip the cutscene there. Looks like he had an extra input and ended up going into his options. So that was gonna give Flad a little bit more of a lead as we go into the Huge Mess section. Huge Mess honestly one of my favorite sections to watch, and even one of my favorite sections to play, because just the amount of corner boosts and everything that just, I know I'm weird, but it's just, to have a good huge mess section in my mind is just so satisfying to just fly through and see the resort change so much and just be able to use it and like to just go fast and look at the dust bunnies and be like, you know what, I don't even really care about you, I'll just avoid you like a pro. And they become so obsolete if you just fly through it. As you can see, Flad doing very well, Archieboy even himself is doing fairly well. So just, I don't know, I love watching a good huge mess, and I love the music that goes along with it. So yeah,
like I understand enjoying watching it, but playing it,
you know,
tough stage.
it is a very tough stage, which I think is another one of the reasons why I enjoy it. I enjoy playing it too, because when you get it, it's just so satisfying. Because you know that it's a tough stage.
Okay, that's kind of fair.
I just get kind of like that same amount of like intense satisfaction from when you hit that last flag on the summit, because you're just like, oh, I did it. Yeah. And it feels great.
All right.
So Flad now coming up on finished going through the elevator shaft. Again, very well played from him through that huge mess. Archieboy playing it very well through the huge mess himself. Flad only got a little bit left until we get to Demo Dash. It'll be interesting. I don't know if any of these runners are going to try and go for the checkpoint list, and it looks like Flad is going to opt for checkpoint list. He nails it first try. Very well done. Archieboy right behind him. He's got about... Oh, he's on the same... he's one screen behind, and he is going to go for the checkpoint. Definitely playing it safe. First try there for both runners. Very well done.
Yeah, and surprising even the player who was in this race of doing checkpoint lists. Just seeing in chat, the person who raced surprised at something that happened in the race that he participated in.
So yeah, definitely as we look at this race, so yeah, for you guys who know, this race is pre-recorded.
It is pre-recorded, but no one knows the results of this besides the racers. So
yep,
it's not like we're gonna be knowing things that you don't about this race. We really are going in just as blind as you are.
Yeah,
Other
but you
than
know what?
Stats
I think
that I have from the past, because
so much better.
That's who I am. I just have stats.
So yeah, Flad finishing up his resort. I was looking at chat, so I didn't see what exactly his time was, but it was still very, very clean.
Yeah, 4:10 according to chat there.
Got about a 24-second lead on Archieboy going into Golden Ridge. Again, you know, both runners are playing pretty well. For week one, like I said, Archieboy as the underdog, even though that it looks like Flad has a pretty commanding lead at this point, you don't count anybody out, because really the race doesn't truly begin until we get past Bub's drop, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of harder screens after Bub's drop. I've always said that 5B doesn't even start really until post Bub's drop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Bub's drop is just like, oh cool, you made it, now enjoy hell.
You know, I kind of think just recently, because I binge watched like 2 seasons of Stranger Things just this last week. I kind of think of like when you go inside the mirror, almost, for those of you guys who watched it, like almost like the Upside Down.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could see that definitely, but you know, that's not too terribly important at this point, as we'll get into Chapter 5 stuff later, in which I'll probably be making Stranger Things references about inside the mirror and everything throughout the rest of the season, but it's fine. So Flad, not sure if he got a little bit of a hiccup there, but still was able to cleanly play through that.
We don't have those enabled. Yeah, we're gonna keep going here. Flad gonna now on the second auto scroller, and as we had shown in the first race, this is
Flad does go
cool
for
new
the
trick that's been going. Yeah, he does. Playing a little
Archie
kick
Boy
there.
taking
You're
another
getting
death there. Oh, and Flad kind of overshoots on his wave dash there, and he will take a death.
And taking a bit of a slower route on the in there from Archie.
Alright, Flad now moving into the cliff face. It looks like Archie Boy himself is going to be going on doing the new strat, and he's able to get it himself as well. Very well done from him. Now, cliff face, again, as we said in the last race, honestly, one of the hardest sections of the game. Just the wind mechanics not really wanting to be your friend, no matter what you do. As it just pushes your momentum in a way that can...
I'm sorry, this pace from Flad right now.
Is that another 240? 241? Okay.
241. For a second, I thought he might get a 2-3x, but he did. He was just barely off getting a 241.
Yeah, it would have been a 2-3x if it wasn't for the one death that he had. So he had a death in Golden Ridge and still pulls out a 241. Very, very solid ridge time from Flad. And even Archie Boy, 246, maybe a 245. I might have misread that. Very well done from him. 245, okay. Yeah, very well done as we go into Chapter 5. This is, again, where the run really starts to show its struggles as we get into 5B and Bub's Drop and just all of the mechanical... the advanced mechanics that come through in this run. So now Archie Boy taking a little bit of a break before moving into Chapter 5.
It's totally allowed as we go by in-game time, so time spent in between chapters in the map screen is actually just part of the game.
And Flad comes up with a very solid yeet. Very well done from him as he is just a little bit short of the cassette room, only have a couple more screens.
Ooh, Archie failing the first screen of Chapter 5. It always is kind of, when you flub that screen, it always becomes kind of weird because you don't know what to do because no one is ever comfortable with those dash blocks.
Yeah, those dash blocks are such a weird mechanic. So now Flad picking up the cassette, moving himself into position to start 5B and coming up on Bub's Drop. Now, one thing to highlight with Flad when it comes to Bub's Drop is that's kind of a struggle, an inconsistent trick for him, as I know that at pace he had a couple of races where he just really struggled with Bub's Drop. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays through. He's coming up on it himself here in just a little bit. Meanwhile, Archie Boy able to cleanly yeet himself across that screen and move on to the tape room. And oh, Flad does fail Bub's Drop at least once right now. That will be one fail for him, which will help Archie Boy to make up some time, as it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Troy, but about a 10-second time loss for each failed Bub's Drop attempt. Alright, so yeah, I think it's about 10 seconds. Just saw that Troy had to step away for a little bit. So it'll just be me, which that is totally fine. Flad able to go with a second try. Bub's Drop keeping himself in the lead, as now Archie Boy is right behind him. Or I'm wrong. He's in 5B and he's coming up on his Bub's Drop attempt as well. Be interesting to see if he gets this first try or not. He goes up for it and he does manage to get it first try, so that will save him some time against Flad in this race, as Flad is now entering the mirror and moving on to one of the hardest sections of the game, just trying to manipulate the Seekers and use them to your advantage. Oh, Flad takes a death, and Archie Boy taking a death himself. Flad taking a death in the descent, and then Archie Boy taking a death right before as he has to do this kind of tough platforming section as they reverse hyper off the pillar to skip a section and skip a couple of screens and continue to move forward. He will be entering the mirror here in just a second. Flad now moving through. Oh, and Flad takes a death himself again, struggling a little bit with these Seekers. He's able to retry though and move himself across. Oh! Archieboy takes a death in the middle of that room, which definitely is going to hurt, cost him quite a few seconds, as this is one of the longer screens in 5B before you make your way into the mirror.
Yeah, and Vlad now entering the gauntlet screen. This screen always was causing a lot of trouble within the qualifiers, but Vlad having no trouble with it here, able to get through it first try.
Archieboy takes a death on the descent, but is still able to move through. Oh, and he falls again and hits the spikes. Vlad now moving up into the impossible room. Plays that very well, as Vlad is now moving in to close out his 5B. 14-20 for him. He's got a very solid lead here, or 14-22. Sorry, I forgot about the last couple of... Oh, and Archieboy taking a death there, stumbling up on the Seekers.
Yeah, taking a bit of an alternate route here in that on that screen. All right, and Archie now going to be moving on to. I typically just know this, I guess, kind of as M Sushi's screen because he sometimes messes up on that screen, but. Oh, gauntlet screen causing some trouble for Archie.
Definitely the gauntlet screen is really hard, as there are so many Seekers that all come at you at once, and that can be really, really tough to have to sit.
Oh wait, no, it's this one. I mixed up screens. Either way.
Yeah, this is the M Sushi screen. Yeah. And now here, the impossible screen. That he goes through. So one thing too that you've seen some of these runners do is on certain cycles of those colored blocks, you'll see them dash into the ground. And the reason that they do that is because, I might be explaining this wrong, but every time you dash, the in-game timer actually pauses for like a frame.
You are explaining it correctly. I don't know how long it is. It's probably around a frame.
Yeah, it's not noticeable with the naked eye.
Yeah, it is basically just a thing that this game does. Anytime you do not have control of Madeline, within other than the pause screen, the timer will just pause, and this is a thing that's always in the game. So yeah. you don't really have any direct control over Madeline during the dash, so the timer does pause. But the rhythm goes to the music and not to the time or anything. So the rhythm blocks keep progressing through their pattern while the timer is paused because the music keeps going. So It is a way to pause the timer a little bit while keeping the rhythm blocks going.
There you go. See, that's the thing. I know I do know some things about the technical sides of Celeste, but I'm no expert in any way, shape, or form, even close to even Troy's level. So it's nice to have him around because a lot of times I don't know what I'm talking about, and he can help pick up my slack.
Yeah. It's good to know the roles in the commentator world for this game.
Yeah, definitely. So now both runners moving through. Reflection, Flad playing it very cleanly. I don't think I saw any deaths from him, but eyes were on Archie Gaming, or Archie Boy, sorry, not Archie Gaming, as he moved through. Finishing up 5B. He had a couple of deaths starting out chapter 6. He, but as I say that, he dies again. Messed up. Lake skip once and had another death, plus this one, so that definitely puts him in a little bit more of a deficit. Flad doing his little bit of a swag strat right before he moves into his battle and boost.
Honestly, at that point, that's just, that is really just muscle memory, like, what's what he's used to doing on that screen, so if he doesn't do it, it just feels weird, probably.
Yeah, but even still, it looks really cool, so shoutouts to Flad for that strat. It doesn't do anything except look cool, but, you know, if anything, finding ways to look cool in such a high-octane speedrun like this, in other ways than just going fast, is really awesome to see. Archie Boy taking another death as he moves.
Yeah, this reflection is really rough for Archie right now.
It is, definitely.
Okay, flat onto the feather skip. Able to get that, no problem. Archie approaching the grandmother. I really do just love the flow of these screens. Archie taking a death here, unfortunately, continuing to flub on this chapter, as Flad is gonna keep progressing through the battle and fight.
Flad just has a commanding lead right now. Yeah. This is definitely.
Flad lost a bit of momentum there. I'm sorry. Keep going.
That guy's, you know, say commanding lead there from Flad, and he messes up a little bit of momentum. Commentators first coming through, even in a pre-recorded race.
Ooh, Archie with the dev-intended skips mess up. Taking the checkpoint on the second try.
Oh, Flad kind of messed. Oh, and he dies again.
Good to take that checkpoint though, because it was not a big of a death on the second time around.
Yeah, and Flad now in round 2 of the fight. Like I've said, this is a very commanding lead from Flad, as Archie Boy is now moving into Battle and Boost. This is definitely Flad's race to lose.
And I do want to say that Battle and Boost has become such a staple to the game that it's become so consistent that runners completely suggested that I take it off the stats page entirely. Of course, I didn't remove it entirely. Previous season stats of it are still on the page, but I'm not tracking it this season, so it's just there. It looks cool, but I don't really expect anyone to miss it.
If somebody fails Battle and Boost, that would be real surprising.
Yeah.
So now Flad finishing up his battle and fight, moving into the epilogue of Reflection, getting ready to make that last final sprint towards the summit. I gotta say, I really like the way that Reflection kind of finishes up, because it's like this calm, and then you just get onto the intensity of Summit.
That split is crazy. That's a really good time for
5:36 Reflection.
Not a sub. Yeah, not going to be getting a sub 20 entering Summit, but still crazy time, IL.
Yeah, very well done. Archie hitting the spikes with the feather, so he's going to be taking another death. So now we've got, again, Flad with a very commanding lead as he's finishing up his 0 meters here in just a little bit.
I will clarify for Fladervy. It's kind of complicated as to what his PB is, because he has an unrecorded 27.55, so it is different from what you see on the leaderboard of a 28.08. That is his recorded PB, so you can keep that in mind as to, like, maybe he can get faster than his recorded PB, but in reality, he has achieved a 27 before, so it's not gonna. I don't think he's definitely not on 27 pace, but it is things to keep in mind.
He would need a Summit world record if he wants to get a 27.
Oh, that's not even his recorded PB? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, he probably just hasn't submitted anything faster than the 28.08 because he wants to beat his actual PB before posting anything.
Yeah, which is very, very understandable. Oh, Archie Boy taking another death on the spikes as he goes into the last room of the battle and fight. So, but definitely high respect from both of these runners as they're going to be starting themselves off in this league. Oh, Archie Boy kind of stumbling a little bit, but is able to make it work as he progresses through and finishes up his battle and fight. Definitely a rough Reflection for Archie Boy, so something that he's going to have to look out to clean up as we go into the rest of the matches from this league. But even still, you know, going up, Flad being the 3rd place finisher from Season 1, actually former world record holder as well. I'm not sure what his time was, but I know that on the, I don't know what that spreadsheet was, or I could find that spreadsheet of the world record progression, but I do know that Flad did have the world record for any percent at one point, and he's definitely capable of taking it again.
Yeah. It's very true. It's going to be very hard at this, it being the 27.3x range, and no one besides Marlon has, Marlon and TGH actually, TGH does have a 27.43 as well.
Yeah.
Have achieved 27.4x's, so it's not looking easy, but it certainly is possible for players.
Yeah, it is definitely possible. It'll be I'm really excited to see the way that Celeste is going to continue to progress as we've hit such an optimized point in the game.
Yeah.
Runners looking for any sort of frame that they can save at this point to try and just continue to push the game down.
And we do also have like a lot of runners who came from IL talent, like people who started based off of just getting really good IL times and individual level times and not really caring about full runs. Marlon being one of those players who was for a long time being watched by high level runners, who was just like, yeah, he may get it. All he needs is just to get a good full run because his ILs are crazy, and his ILs are crazy.
Yeah, Marlon, like I said, Marlon has been one who definitely we wanted to keep eyes on this season, but definitely Marlon's not the only one we got to watch, as we've got a lot of runners who've been coming through, pulling in with 27s, and even some of these other guys who haven't achieved a 27, to see where this league is going to push them. I know looking back from last season, we've got Chai Kitty, who started off like not expecting to even make the top 4 and was able to push himself like crazy and just shattered expectations for what people thought he was going to do.
It's so true, but I do want to point out, just by the way, we got Flad carrying 2 berries through all of 2,000 meters, so, or most of it. So good job there. Yeah, it's gonna be transitioned, and yeah, one of those berries will be collected at the end of this cutscene because that's just how it works. But you could carry the berry through the rest of 2,500 if you wants to.
You definitely could, because you don't land like hardly. That's one thing I've noticed with Summit is you don't spend that much time at all, if anything, on the ground. And which makes Summit a very, very tough chapter to do well, because there's so many instances where you are just not on the ground and can't reset your dash. So you have to be able to just watch for everything with the movement. So
right,
again,
you are on that. Okay, Archie. And so for the first time on the race, we can say hi to FFZ, because it's kind of a hit or miss on whether or not we see him. Flad didn't go for it earlier, and now we finally get to see it happening from Archie.
As Flad looks to wrap up his 2,500 meters and getting ready to close out this race. Again, really solid play from Flad to start off week 1. Definitely very respectable. Archie trying to come up as fast as he can, get up behind Flad, try and make up some ground.
Okay. Flubbing a little bit there. Did not quite get the jump to hit flag 29.
All right, Archie boy not opting to go for the auto scroller skip, playing it safe, knowing how just for one auto scroller skip, but definitely knowing the struggle of how tough that skip can be, just decides to play it safe, not go for it in the race, and just do what you know you can do and not try and risk anything. Archie boy taking a couple of deaths. He's kind of stumbling on the screen a little bit, but is able to make it through. But now, as he moves through 3,000 meters, getting even closer to wrapping this up, played through downdraft, didn't notice anything that really stuck out for his downdraft, but is able to play this updraft really well. Again, moving through these tougher screens as they're longer and a lot more punishing if you die. I know I've had a lot of runs that I've lost to the updraft section. So definitely something. Oh, Vlad missing the key coin there. gotta say, oh, and Archie Boy dying a little bit there in that section of 25. Oh, dies again. He's kind of stumbling a little bit. And now Archie Boy able to complete his key skip. Flad getting into the last alley-oop before the end of the summit here. Getting ready to close out this, again, very commanding lead. Very well done from him.
Okay, yeah, Flab moving on to flag number 2 here. Is going to take it.
As now Flad being known for his flag 1 movement, it will definitely be cool to see that come through. I don't know, Flad had a race that he was behind, hitting flag 1, but then went through and, oh, wait, what?
That still counts. Yeah, that's a thing you can do. It counts.
Oh, no!
Oh, wait, no, he didn't quite get it. Never mind. It didn't count as a finish, but you can actually X out, but it's not going to be a huge deal. But yeah, flubbing on flag 1 here. I know you can, like, choose to not look at epilogue, but yeah.
28-33 to finish up Flad's first race here in the league. Very well done from him. We've got Archie Boy coming up behind, finishing up his downdraft. So Flad will be taking the win here, which will give him 60 points. But keep an eye on Archie Boy's timer.
We actually are getting confirmation from the restreamer that the original one did count. He's not getting a 28-33. It's whatever it was before, that 28 like 1x that he had, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, so it again, is saying there, like according to what Milo was saying, apparently it was.
Okay. And I will take Milo's word for it there. So, Archie Boy taking a death there, taking another one, kind of stumbling on this updraft here. So again, keeping eyes on Archie Boy as he has he has at least 30 points that he's going to try and nab here. He won't be able to get all 30 of them, considering the deficit that he was at, but he can still definitely look at picking some points up for him, which this early in the league, you want to try and snag as many points as possible.
Absolutely. As long as you're within 5 minutes of the other player, you will still get points. It is 10 seconds for every point in the rules, so that is what we consider. So yeah, according to chat, people saying 28-17 was what he finished with. So he has to get within a 32-17.
Which
I can't do math. 33-17, excuse me.
Which I definitely see that being possible here from Archie as he goes into the final sprint here on the summit. This part is weird because, like, yeah, the wind is actually behaving normally, but in my opinion, it's also just one of the hardest parts of Summit, not necessarily because of any of the mechanics, but because you're so close to finishing the run that it just gets so stressful and the nerves just kick in.
I mean, the music's always been a factor of that. Getting a 30-47.
Actually, really close to PB. He was.
Yeah. And I don't know how points are very specific when it comes to borders, so I don't know what his decimals were. So there's a point that may or may not go to Archie with that.
0.430 and 0.594. We'll see where GSA.
Well, the 0.430, you're looking at the 28-33, which is not counted. That we're going back to the 28-17 that he had.
Oh right, that's true.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
That's true. So we'll see where GSA decides to rule on that. But even still, that is going to be the win coming through for Flad. Very solid. And because this race is pre-recorded, we are not going to be...
Okay, it was a 28-18 apparently, according to Miles. So
28-18. Okay.
it doesn't matter, I guess. That point is fine. That point
All
would
right.
go to, I don't know how it works in my mind what I was gonna say, but yeah, technically I believe it would go to Flad probably. That one point I'm thinking of.
Okay, so that point then again, Flat able to nab himself quite a few points as we start
Yeah.
off the league here. So again, Flag being able to take the win here. Very clean play. There's a couple of hiccups from Archie as we saw in Reflection and Summit. So it'll be really interesting to see if he will clean those up as we go into the next couple of races in the next league matches. So now I think I don't have, do you have any other things to say about this race, Troy?
Not particularly. I do want to say thank you everybody for watching, and don't go anywhere. That was just the second of 6 races today.
Yeah.
We got the next one coming up, Aurora Dash versus Flare Bear, and that's in like
I'm going to be tossing the mic over to my good friend Dave Stereo as he hops in for this next match, but even still, very solid play from both runners. Awesome way to start.
I'll be sticking with you.
And with that, we'll turn it over to intermission as we get ready for the next match.